Hello and welcome to this webinar. Good evening to all the attendees from India. Good morning and good afternoon to all the participants joining from different corners of the globe. My name is Pooja and I'm from the Sunbird marketing team of Tekdi Technologies. Thanks for tuning in to today's webinar of SunbirdTalkies in collaboration with Xstep Foundation, where we discover and discuss about Sunbird, a digital public good. Today's topic is enabling learning and capacity building at scale with Sunbird. It is an introductory webinar to Sunbird SaaS, which can help you get started and accelerate your success in building resilient and future-ready platforms for learning and capacity building solutions. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce today's keynote speaker, Manjiri Sule. Manjiri is leading the Sunbird Consultation and Project Division of Tekdi Technologies as Assistant Vice President. She has a multidisciplinary background with over 3 decades of global industry experience, ranging from information technology to education to nonprofits. She is a seasoned delivery leader with demonstrated experience in large-scale social intervention projects, projects with civil society, and organizations with governments and much more. She is passionate about deep tech and committed to help society to reimagine possibilities with digital transformation. I would like to welcome Manjiri for delivering the session. Over to you, Manjiri.
Thank you so much, Pooja, and thanks for a very good introduction, though it might be slightly loaded. I would also like to welcome here Mr. Krishna, who is a very senior person in Sunbird from Xstep team, and he will also participate wherever required in terms of adding or elaborating to the points. So thank you very much, Krishna, sir, for being over here. Should we start?
This conversation.
Yeah. So, according to me, I think after a long time, once again, we are having a non-technical session because there has been quite a lot technical sessions, and we have all seen that. So for after a long time, I'm starting with a non-technical session, and it's going to be very simple, very quick session to give you an overall introduction of what is Sunbird. Once again, perhaps for few of you, you have worked on Sunbird, using Sunbird, and few of you know Sunbird because you are about to make those choices. But still, once again, we will start with a slightly non-technical, maybe overview of Sunbird. Is my screen visible to everyone? Pooja, Harish, can I start? I guess so, yeah. So the session is Sunbird, Sunbird ED, SaaS, PaaS, there are so many words. And on top of that, there is a question. Perhaps a question mark should have been slightly bigger. And every word, as I have underlined it, means much more for that big question mark. Something like Sunbird platform. Can it be a quicker deployment of a battle-tested, high scalable, feature-rich, open source learning and capacity building platform? Can this be possible? So that's the question, and let's see whether that is not. And as I said, we are going to repeat slightly once again about overall Sunbird. What is Sunbird? Sunbird stories. It has been again and again, maybe nowadays, become a buzzword, and we have been hearing new stories about Sunbird and new implementations, even globally talked about or presented to the world. We will then proceed to Sunbird ED, a very well-known case study from our country, which has become a global model as an open source public good platform. Then very late in my presentation comes what are the choices, which perhaps supposed to be the core of what we are going to talk about. What are the choices for Sunbird adoption? If we want to use solutions implemented on Sunbird platform, what could be the choices? Why those choices? We'll talk about that. And since we talked about quicker, easier choices, we'll get slightly more into details of two of the choices, SaaS and PaaS. So we'll see what that in coming slides. First, Sunbird. And Sunbird is one of the largest platform that we have in our country, implemented, created by XTEP. It's the largest building platform being used for learning and capacity development. It's the biggest digital public good from India, available for global use. It's a set of open source building blocks and which are compliant to MIT license agreement. And what are these sets? These sets are almost 16 building blocks having again set of microservices. So building blocks are actually autonomous. They are and can be used on its own for various purposes or the purpose that for which it includes the set of microservices. They are at the same time have interoperability. They have generic capabilities across building blocks, and they also have a very good quality of evolvability, which is essential in open source, as open source is increasingly used time and again and progressively. The evolvability, going back to making that open source platform or code base richer, is required. And if the building blocks don't have that evolvability, then in true sense, it doesn't become open source to be enriched by each and all who is participating in that. So when I said building blocks, it's I have given the 16 building blocks their names. I might not want to read it, each one of them, but something like Anuvad, Comet, Vakyansh, these are the building blocks. If you have heard something about Bhashini, language and translations related platforms that we are trying to use for Indian languages, almost 30 Indian languages to be brought upon in auto translations kind of functionality or applications. There is something like RC, which is Sunbird RC, which is very useful to create large registries, the records, credentials, that kind of thing, whether it's C-cube, inquiry, observe, this kind of building blocks that have immense capacity of giving us analysis of what is happening on the platform, what is data that is coming in, what kind of dashboards and reports we can build upon them. Telemetry, again, like for some of the building blocks are specs, some of them are actual software. So telemetry is part of software in RC, is also giving us specs. Sunbird ED, which is we have heard quite a lot, and Sunbird ED itself actually consists and interoperates with a couple of more building blocks like learn, knowledge, inquiry, observe, to give the overall functionality. If you ask me and most of the audience today, perhaps if I'm not, is this Sunbird? This is what Sunbird is the question. So what Sunbird is, we'll look into for us in the future slides. For example, all these 16 blocks somewhere have been used and we are familiar with these applications. We have heard about this, we have used this, DIVOP, which has given us vaccination certificate at a speed when the entire country and the world faced this problem suddenly of COVID. The vaccinations came, and then we had to have credentials of carrying those vaccination certificates. And DIVOP kind of application, which is built on Sunbird building blocks, has almost given 2 billion plus vaccination certificates across maybe 5 countries or more. Diksha, once again, maybe all those are in education might have heard about that. Diksha is a platform adopted by central government education department in CRT, and this platform is very widely used today. Almost 180 million plus students are using that. Using that instance, they are consuming content which is created by 7 million plus teachers across this learning system. So it's as the software platform itself is open source, Diksha kind of implementation which has done by the central government is also kind of open for many of the adopters who want to work in, I shouldn't say adopters, but those who want to work in education, contribute in education, apart from the state governments, boards, some individuals, some maybe organizations can use this platform to consume maybe content or create and contribute to the content by registering themselves, which is given a very specific name as Vidyadan. Vidyadan is a platform created for individuals and organizations who can contribute to this humongous e-learning platform with various kind of resources, whether it's explanations for any topic that the children have in their textbooks, videos, teaching videos, practice questions, competency-based items, lesson plans, whether it's assessment, and it's one, but right now Vidyadan is only for maybe grade 1 to grade 12, but platform like Diksha can be used by any level of education, whether it's pre-primary, whether it's primary, higher secondary, or even the university level or higher education level. So Sunbird for us, those 16 building blocks we talk about, those are more for developers. For us, Sunbird is this. Sunbird is something that gives us at scale usability, applicability for variety of purposes. I'll just go to a very specific detail experience that all of us should once again visit to is about Sunbird ED, the case study that we have shown to the entire world. And what is that? We are today looking for this entire maybe a presentation session only for learning, for development, for training, capacity building, assessments. We need to have certifications given. We need to have registries created of students, teachers, and whatnot. So Sunbird for us is this. It can create, it's a platform that gives opportunity to create content, to contribute content, organize that content in a hierarchical way. For example, just one example that I have given over here, a true travel, there might be learning resource, which could be some PPT kind of workspace, and in which you create your content, or it could be PDF file, any other files, it could be HTML content, it could be videos, audios. So those individual learning resources, we can hierarchically use that in modules. Those modules can be combined to give courses. Courses can be combined to give one particular program, and that one particular program can be then consumed by by the stakeholders. It would not necessarily be students, as I have shown in these pictures. It could be students, it could be like capacity building for the engineering service support staff anywhere. It could be trainings or capacity buildings of medicos, paramedicos in larger organizations. It could be maybe some trainings or interventions created by civil society organizations. So all these content organization that we create, there are multiple possibilities the way we would like to organize that content. What happens next is this particular platform gives ability for students to search the content, whatever, whoever is the student who registers on the content, apart from the organizationally registered students, can search content, can consume that content, maybe opt for courses, learn that, and then appear for certification courses, take their assessment, get instant results. The way assessment modules can be integrated or created by creators, they can create like the same hierarchy question set, normal, all type of questions, or complexity of questions. Questions with scores can be created. They can be maybe um, randomly collected in question sets, and then can be collected in questionnaires, and then can be maybe collected as a baseline assessment or a midterm assessment or a course certification assessment. And those assessments can be taken by students. They instantly will be able to see their results. They will get their certification having digitally verified credentials through this platform. Also, it kind of becomes possible to have a student or maybe any staff who is undergoing competency development program to see the progress, to see something like a passport to have in the hands. What are the courses that I have done, till what level I have qualified, to what level I need to catch up, and what are the resources available to me. As I said, the building blocks within Sunbird ED, they give immense capacity for the organizations, for the adopters, for the teachers, course conductors to see what is happening with their content. So there are huge opportunities to monitor, evaluate, uh, collate, those data are collated with respect to content consumption, which particular type of content is maybe popular, course is popular, why something is failing, why somewhere technically there is a glitch, why students are not being able to go ahead. And of course, the analytical dashboards of various types can be generated is the capacity of the building blocks that we have in Sunbird ED. Of course, we can maintain, as I said, the learning passbooks and the registries. And the biggest case study that we are talking about is Sunbird ED in Diksha. As I said, Diksha, when it is adopted by the education department, central government education department. It is given to students, to various boards and their teachers. Teachers created content for various subjects in various language for grades up to 12th, and thus, as of now, almost 50 billion plus minutes of learning material is available on Diksha, which is Sunbird ED implementation. 600 million have plus energized textbooks have been printed. All of you by now maybe knowing or have seen or maybe kids or students teaching material, learning teaching material, printed material having the QR code, QR scanner on that. And when we scan it, apart from that text that students generally are reading through the print material, there is some maybe additional explanatory material, elaborations, additional PPTs, additional audio, video that are made available on students' maybe mobile phone or portal through which they are going. So, reaching it in terms of reaching, it has reached 180 million plus students, 4.1 billion learning sessions are there when there are 40 billion plus minutes of learning. There are, I can't even read this, 2 lakh plus pieces of content in 33 languages, 7 million plus teachers are there. Again and again, we are saying that maybe 4 lakh plus micro learning instances. As I said, there are resources, and resources can be collected to higher level of hierarchy, the way teachers want, or the way trainers want, or the way programs are designed. So the micro learning root level resources are more than 4 lakh plus. 100 million plus verifiable teacher training credentials are available on Diksha as a platform. So again, variety in terms of, we spoke about energized textbooks, teacher capacity building can be possible, digital assessment records, longitudinal records can be available for student, e-student. In terms of assessments, there can be different type of assessments. Again, questions can be there, revision, homework can be set for students, and data-driven intervention, like as we get a lot of data, per student data, content consumption related data, we can modify interventions based on what data we get. Uh, in terms of Sunbird ED capabilities, how we have been able to reach to so many teachers and so many students. So there is a user interface, there is an interface which is based on portal, like any web application from desktop, laptops, students, teacher, they can access the portal. But for the consumption side, there is also iOS and Android based application which helps students to consume data. And the beauty of this is we know, and everyone when talks about digital education, they primarily raise question about the availability of digital devices or maybe internet access and the speed and whatnot. But the beauty of Sunbird ED based applications that we have been generating, and Diksha is an example of that, shows that the content can be online and offline consumed. What does that mean? That means that whenever students get into some access area, say for example, maybe their schools or at the root level, village level, if students go to their schools and go to panchayat levels where they might get some access to their devices, they download particular content that they want, and when maybe they go out of the site to their homes, go offline, the content is still there for them to read it and even to give their test perhaps. When they come back again in the online situation, when they are connected to net, their test is synced with the online capabilities, and they can see the results and they can go ahead and submit their test papers and see their certificates. So this is one of the proven ability that Sunbird ED has shown in terms of Diksha's implementation. After Diksha, now this was a sort of revision of what Sunbird is, what is Sunbird ED, what those building blocks mean to us as the users, as application creators, as somebody who want to use this platform, and going into the details of Sunbird ED's very proven example of Diksha implementation. Now we'll go back to our core topic of what Sunbird choices are, Sunbird adoption choices are, and why those are the adoption choices for us. There are three adoption choices. One is deploying Sunbird ED on your owned infrastructure. We'll talk more about each of these choices in the later slides. Using Sunbird ED as a SaaS model. Using third option, using Sunbird ED as a SaaS model with additional functionality, which we call it as, for the timing, PaaS. What is all this? For example, deploying Sunbird ED on your own infrastructure. Mostly what we saw, government, ministries, departments, and after Diksha, when Central Education Ministry adopted that, NCERT adopted that, boards took benefit of that. These days, more and more central programs have started looking for this option, have started looking for these applications based on this platform. So those ministries, departments, even somebody like state government, private corporate houses, civil society, bigger civil society organizations with larger funds, they are the people who can deploy Sunbird on their own infrastructure. They can invest in capital expenditure, they can bear the entire operational cost of running that infrastructure with very highly skilled technical teams required to run that infrastructure and keep the solution running 24/7. To give you example, yes, Diksha, government, ministries, state governments, private organizations, you can see it on the Sunbird side. Infosys is a company, somebody like them, they have adopted Sunbird platform to create an entire learning and capacity building application for Infosys internal teams. Civil societies, there are some big civil societies in India, organizations in India who are talking about hosting it on their own platform. They are ready to invest that much time, they are ready to invest that much resources because they want to have their own instance so that it becomes more scalable for them. So this is one maybe option. In this option, when we talk about the infrastructure management, when we talk about capital expenditure, when we talk about operational expenditure, just to give you a glimpse, what are the infrastructure requirements? So this many are the maybe the technical blocks are required apart right from the servers to the applications required. This is just a technical stack. Here we are not talking about the hardware involved for all these, but there is again an entire hardware, maybe blocks and sizes and RAMs and multiple servers required for balancing. There are a lot of infrastructure required to handle this entire tech stack that we are looking at. This is just for an idea. Now, if that was one choice, what are the next two choices for us? Before going to next two choices, and is the time allowing me? Yeah, I guess so. Let me slightly elaborately read out the stories to you. And these are real stories. Almost like in last 1 month, I have seen and spoken to these people personally. Sheila, for example, is an early child education specialist, and she's very confident that the combined training of Anganwadi Sevikas and parents will help in boosting the learning abilities of children, but she is unable to figure out an outreach model. As many of you who perhaps are in education know that NEP has started talking about first time about the early childhood education, and there are lot of interventions also were planned by many people for even before NEP had started and before even this digitalization. So people had started with their pen and pencil paper models, and they are successful in a classic way in those small maybe set of Anganwadis or a cluster where they are working. But now, when after COVID or during COVID, there was a realization that the solution needs to reach to multiple parents at multiple maybe geographical locations in various languages. What do we do? How do we do that? What kind of thing? And it's so easy actually. For example, I don't know, again, apart from these four stories, please allow me to give just today's one more instance that I experienced. Today morning I came across a 3 minute video clip, a video. It was audio clip. A 5-year girl from America. She was calling the emergency services as she found her dad incapable of breathing and very difficult to breathe. And the way she was talking to the emergency service staff, I really felt that if our children know this at that age, what will be the wonder? And not only that side, even the side of instructor, like the way that instructor kept that girl engaged without increasing her anxiety, helping her calm down, giving her instructions, even the emergency response staff, the way they are trained, it could be really a wonder, these type of situations if we can have. Vijay, on the other hand, is a very high-tech procurement chief. This is another story, and has in a hurry implemented some LMS type of solution, and now is struggling to provide the consumption and engagement reports to the NGO, the bigger NGO where he is working as a procurement chief. He is answerable and he is unable to give the usage report. Tina, one of the biggest hospital chains in India, she is the head of human development, and not only there are the staff, medical and paramedical staff, who is operational for years over there. It's also an education institution, so almost thousands of medicals and paramedicals every year take admission over there. And she's struggling now at the end of the year for next year to come to implement some solution where the initial induction of basic protocols, safety, security features, apart from the courses, has to be given completed. And she's looking for trainers, and the core work in hospital takes over as a priority. And she is looking for a long-term solution, which can be very quickly adopted. Suraj is another CFO. As if all CFOs, I'm very sorry to say this, but the money always goes from their pockets and they're always worried. The board has sanctioned money huge amount of money to get the best of the learning and development application on board, but he's wondering what could be the best cost-effective option that he can have. Given all this situation where we are meeting these kind of people, stakeholders day to day, wanting to do something as part of their job, they need expertise, they need to have confidence in terms of wanting to have a suitable adoption, wanting to have very quick time for adoption. The cost matters to them, unlike maybe the bigger entities that we spoke in earlier slides. What is the way out for them? Choice is something like we call as using Sunbird AD as SaaS, software as service. What happens over here? Entire Sunbird AD is deployed in our infrastructure, and we make that infrastructure readily available to people who want to use the SaaS model. Now, how does it work? It actually, from today, let me tell you, and we'll go to that slide later, you can easily try it before confirming your decision. Today, you just want to play with what can we do in Sunbird ED. We have Sunbird SaaS implemented, infrastructure is ready, ED is deployed over there. You will just contact us, we'll give you some information, credentials, login, and you can go and create your content. You can go and view your content. You can maybe go and create your assessments. So these are the trial versions that are readily available in even much before you want to even discuss your decisions or discuss your choices. So this is one thing since the SaaS platform is ready. Now, if you do that and if you want to go about it, how do we do it? As I said, there is a ready infrastructure with very highly skilled DevOps team maintaining that, being there for operational support 24/7. SunbirdED is deployed with all its core features on this ready infrastructure. When you have made your choice and when you want to onboard, we exchange some details with each other and we onboard you. In that, we may also include you the way you want, maybe your own logos, your white labeling, your own color scheme, whatever you want at that level. But primarily, you will be using the core features that we have with SunbirdED. We create, using this exchange of information, we create metadata, we onboard you, we create framework, the hierarchy and the rest of the things for your content, the way you want to manage it. And we address your UI requirements. You and your users then can immediately register, login, and start using the core features with your own content. You save on money because the infrastructure is shared. The entire infrastructure cost, the DevOps cost, the team's cost that we are talking about, the operational cost, licenses, is shared across many of the instances. You save on the time because infrastructure is already ready. If someone wants to start with from scratch infrastructure, there is a time to get the budget sanction, there is a time to procure infrastructure, there is a time to maybe deploy the entire services and microservices on the infrastructure, then develop solution, and then you start using. So here we save on that time. Since we are giving you the trial versions, trial abilities, demos, you can confirm your choices with how you want to use it, whether you want to use it now. And then you can go ahead undoubtedly with the proven solution. So this is what is Sunbird SaaS. This is our second choice. What is our third choice? Third choice is something that we called as Sunbird Pass. So it's same as Sunbird SaaS. You have the infrastructure ready, which is SaaS infrastructure. Sunbird ED is deployed on that. You decide to adopt and onboard on Sunbird SaaS the way we spoke, but you need some features which are additional, which are not available in core Sunbird ED. So you will need to discuss those requirements, those features with us, and will take time to implement those features on the SaaS version of your instance. It is easy to create these major features customized for your requirements with the flexible, evolvable Sunbird ED building blocks deployed on our SaaS. If you agree, since it is an open source philosophy and platform with which we are working, we'll check with you whether you want your own features to be given back, contributed back to Sunbird core ED, because those features were not there. You wanted additional features to be developed. We developed that, and if you are ready, we can contribute back to the open source Sunbird ED so that the other people, other tenants, other users, adopters can easily use those features, and that will be your contribution to the public good that we are talking about. So these are the three choices that we spoke about. Sunbird, adopting Sunbird, deploying it on your own infrastructure, using our infrastructure where we have deployed Sunbird, and you use it as we are giving a service to you for the core features with minimal branding that you want for your purpose, and Sunbird Pass where you again use our Sunbird SaaS, our infrastructure, but we also develop some major features for you. As far as the choices that I wanted to make maybe clear to you, and I forgot, whenever you have any questions, please shoot it so that at the end of it we can have a question and answer session. So I'm very sure by this time you might have had a lot of questions. Let me just give you our current examples, like what type of SaaS and PaaS case studies that we have. So in our Sunbird SaaS instance, we have one project going on, which is for Educate Girls. It's a learning management platform for adolescent girls and to prepare them for standard 10 examination through series of interventions. Uh, Also trying to maybe encourage and facilitate rural entrepreneurship opportunities for the girls. So this is one of the program that is given to girls, that is delivered to girls by teachers or volunteers who are called as prayer. It's a very nice word that they're using. So these are the local volunteers who are using this platform to will be using this platform to create now content. They are already onboarded on the platform. The girls are already onboarded on the platform. So courses will be announced and they'll start using the content also and the assessment also. So Educate Girls is one of the projects that we are holding on. Tekdi's Sunbird SaaS. Transform Schools, which is another project for accelerated learning via technology. It is an adaptive learning program being implemented across various states in accordance with individual school principles. This is a learning enhancement program that uses adaptive learning techniques using technology through blended means of rebuild foundational competencies, bridge learning loss, and gain grade level learning. So that's why it's accelerated learning. There is an analysis of where the foundational learning is, if there is a requirement to rebuild that, if the bridge learning is required or not, and then again the kind of grade level learning that the students actually should have. So this again is used on our SaaS, but since there were additional features that are required, we call it as a PaaS implementation. So we have given some more features that were there in Sunbird ED, and around the Sunbird ED blocks we have included those features. Going ahead sometime it will go in the core Sunbird ED also. The third is Bunny Foundation. It's a Sunbird based learning platform. Once again, the Bunny Foundation works with NGOs, foundations, governments, and other stakeholders to help them solve their key problems of on multiple fronts. The learning platform of Bunny is used to accelerate their non-profit capacity building initiative through digital learning. So everyone who is contributing in the non-profit space, they are building their capacity, and for that they are using this digitally enabled learning platform. Again, using our SaaS version. So whatever is, as shown very quickly in this picture once again, whatever is the learning stakeholder, the kind of programs you want to have for students, maybe blue collar workers, white collar workers. It could be a platform that you can look forward to. There could be three choices. One is if you are as big as an entity who can afford to install and deploy the infrastructure that is required, have the teams, and use this as a solution, you are welcome. We have something like SaaS and PaaS to use our infrastructure. You'll have little less cost because it's already shared. It will be shared across many of the adopters. You will have it ready to use. You will have some demos and trial versions to have for your own purpose. And here is the thing, maybe you can scan it, or you will also get the link in the chat. May I request somebody from my team to give the um, link in the chat so that you can have this. You What will happen is you basically the even the scanner is the QR code is open for you. You can scan this Google form you will get. Will ask you for some small information, and we'll get back to you to give you the link to use your trial version. So we will again come back to this slide in case you want to scan it. Just want to say thank you. Thank you to our funders because they have believed in our vision of SaaS and PaaS vision, and they have trusted us, and we have implemented that for 3, 4 tenants by now, organizations by now. And we look forward to have your questions. Maybe we also look forward for you to contact to us on this sunbird@tekdi.net. We'll also send you the link to every one of you. And yeah, thank you so much to everyone for patiently listening. We can have questions. Maybe Pooja can help us having those questions. So there is one question, Pooja, I can see from Meenal Rajputre. Typically, how long did Tekdi take to help educate girls? Educate girls, Meenal ma'am, we started with first just creating the registries for the girls and the prereqs, their teachers. So it was a minimal functionality that they required. And since it was on SaaS, their onboarding on SaaS, nowadays we just take 3 to 4 days with the specific information. And we also are going ahead with the other now, the content side of development now. Mr. Parth would like to answer this question in more details. Parth, are you there?
Yes, I'll take that.
Thank you so much, Parth.
Yeah, so Meenal, for Educate Girls, we are actually helping them on two fronts. So one is the Sunbird SaaS, which is mainly right now deployed to train their prereqs on managing their programs, and that's already live. So typically a SaaS installation where we are giving them a platform to create content and deploy it to their users. That deployment is roughly, it takes around a week's time. If there is a mobile app that needs to be customized to the requirement, that can take another couple of weeks. So the deployment time for a SaaS story where we are doing purely white labeling of the mobile application can be up to 3 weeks. With them, we are also doing some projects which are kind of integrating with Sunbird SaaS, where Manjiri mentioned registries, right? So this is a custom Sunbird RC based projects that been done for them, where prereq registries and students or the adolescent girls registries are being created, and eventually they will be integrated with this SaaS platform. So that's been a longer project that's been on now for 2.5 months, and that's still in progress. But that is going to be an evolving project. So SaaS is kind of, it's out of the box solution where we deploy things as is. And then, so the RC based registry project has been a custom implementation. So it depends on how you are, what you are actually using it for.
Thank you so much, Parth. There is Parth and Krishna sir. There is one question from Jack Sim, and Sim is asking: We are the World Toilet Organization. We want to use this for a World Toilet College to train toilet cleaners and sanitation workers. Can I come to Bangalore to meet you? Bangalore, Pune. We are in Pune, sir. Also, we can have a meeting in Bangalore, no problem. Also, we have another NGO called BOP Hub to train Bangladeshi construction workers in Singapore to speak English. Yes, Harish, would you like to answer this question? Krishna sir, Harish, Parth, anyone?
Yeah. So I see Harish has raised your hand, but I'll take
Yeah.
a first shot at that. And Harish, then maybe you can add. So we'd be really happy to help the World Toilet Organization train the toilet cleaners and sanitation workers. So we can either arrange a meeting online, or we can also come down to Bangalore. So the Tekdi team that is managing the SAS is based out of Pune, but we do travel to Bangalore very regularly. So we can arrange a meeting either in Pune, Bangalore, or online. So we would reach out to you for that. For the second use case, for the BOP hub, would love to know more about that as well. So maybe we can take it up in the meeting, or you can send us more details. But it's basically, if it's a capacity building, education and training use case, it can definitely be taken care of. And in fact, if it's to teach Bangladeshi construction workers speak English, I think an AI for Bharat kind of a use case could also be probably brought into play, where some of that tooling could be brought into picture here. So very interesting use cases. We'd love to help you with these. We'll reach out to you. I hope your email is with us. We'll come back to you on that. Hey, thank you for your email. Thank you. So Manjiri, I see one more question. So this is related to the price points. So yeah, I'll just quickly maybe clarify that. So for the SaaS builds, what we are doing is that we are basically configuring the tenants to the kind of training that you want to take up. And the pricing for that, basically there's a one-time cost, which ranges from around a lakh to 2.5 to 3 lakhs, depending on the kind of white labeling you need. And then there is a running cost. So the running cost for around 500 users is around 25,000 rupees per month, converted into dollars, or if you are not from India. But if you have more questions on pricing, please do scan the QR code, drop us your information details, and we'll come back on the details, and we can work out different models on the pricing depending on the scale that you're at.
So here is a link. Instead of QR code also, you can copy this link and can approach us for more details whenever you need it.
So Manjiri, I think we'll have to send it on email because there's no way to chat to everyone. So I guess Harish.
And Harish, we have I
see that he has posted it.
Yeah.
So there's one more question from Vipul. What is the difference between having training module on Diksha and Sunbird?
Yeah, so maybe I'll take a stab at that. So basically, Diksha Vipul is hosted by the Government of India, and if you have content that you want to host on Diksha, you'll have to go through the Vidyadan process for a state, or go through the Diksha process for uploading content on Diksha. So what uploading content on Diksha will definitely give you is massive reach, because Diksha has already reached students and teachers across the country. But there is a certain process through which you'll have to get your content up on Diksha. You'll have to go through that. However, if you have content that cannot sit on Diksha for whatever reason, either due to non-compliance with the policies government has, or you have a program that needs it to be delivered directly, that's where something like a Sunbird SaaS will help you. So Diksha is basically a Sunbird instance managed and run by the Government of India. In this case, the Sunbird SaaS will be giving you that same power with your own branded white labeled instance to run any kind of programs that you want. So there won't be any dependence. But definitely, if you have something that should sit on Diksha, you should definitely try that route, because that will give you automatic scale in terms of reaching the right audience. But it has you have to go through the process described to be able to push your content on Diksha. I hope, Vipul, that answers your question.
Any more questions? Anyone wants to raise hand or maybe type in question and answer?
So Harish has also pasted the link for the QR code, the page where the QR code lead you to. You can also copy the link from the chat box. Thank you, Harish.
So shall we close the session in case like there are no questions? You can of course always approach us.
Yeah, so I think there is a question. What is your website and where can we have today's PPT? So we will be sharing today's PPT with all the attendees. So if you have registered an email, we will be sending this. And for the website, we'll just post the link on the chat. Let me just do that. So Manjiri, if you can just wait for a minute, I'll just send a link. Harish, if you just help me push this to the audience, that would be great. And before we close, I see one more question that was asked related to pricing earlier. So is the pricing determined on the number of courses, users? So yeah, so right now the way we have done the pricing model is based on the number of named users, but we are flexible on the model depending on your use case. We could evolve a usage-based model as well, if that is something that works for you. But we have started with a named user model, which is that's active right now. Yeah, so Harish has posted the website link. You can see it there.
If we can have 5 more minutes, may I request Krishna sir to add his point of view and some guidance to the audience? Krishna sir?
Yeah, thanks, Manjiri.
Would you like to share your views, please?
Yeah, so pretty much, I think just to Manjiri has covered all the details, but the core of Sunbird is it is a modular, extensible, and configurable tech stack, and it's completely open sourced, which means that you can use the SaaS instance to use the solution as is, or if you think that there are some configurations to be done in terms of meeting your additional use cases, that can also be done because of the way the system has been architected. So it gives you that flexibility. And then there is no need for you to worry for scale related issues and other details because it's proven to work at a scale of like India, which is a population scale and huge scale. So most of your although it is open source, most of the version that is the live releases that happen, they go after they're made live after certain hardening processes that is done, so that the quality of the software that is used by end users is always top notch, right? So yeah, so that's all I have to add. Any questions, anything? You can also reach us over the link that was shared by Park and team. We'll be more than happy to help you out.
Yeah, so just to add to what Krishna said, and I think Manjiri also explained before, so Sunbird SaaS is one way to deploy Sunbird. So Sunbird ED, you can of course choose to host on your own. I think Manjiri gave one example like that. So Diksha is an instance hosted by the government, but if you have a use case that needs scale, that you already have a massive scale where you can, and you need the kind of control on the backend configuration, it is possible to deploy a full-fledged Sunbird instance front-end, backend, completely configurable and modifiable to your use case. For the scenarios where you have a standard scenario where you don't need too much to change, you can go with a Sunbird SaaS kind of a scenario. And when you need customizations that are not massive, where you or the cost is not justified in deploying your own Sunbird, then you have a PaaS like a scenario where even SaaS can be customized to your requirement. So depending on your use case, we can help you figure out what's the best fit for you. So do reach out. We'd love to have conversations with you on your specific use cases and figure out what's the best fit for you. So there was one more question which I have answered on text. I'm just putting it on voice as well. So I think the question was 45K rupees per month for how many months? So I'll just kind of describe the pricing again. So this is a fixed fee plus recurring fee kind of a model. So fixed fee is basically for the one-time white labeling and customization framework configuration cost. That's for getting you started. And after that, that is a monthly commitment, and that price is a function of number of users. So as your numbers increase, the price per user will keep dropping. It's SaaS, so you get the benefit of volumes. You can choose to pay per month. So the price point starts at 25,000 INR for up to 500 users. But if you have more users, you can basically go for the higher slabs. We can share the detailed pricing on email. And if you commit and do annual commitments, you can also get deep discounts on this. That's a quick, I hope that clarifies pricing to a point. If you have more questions, definitely feel free to reach out and we'll give you more details and drop on a call with you. I guess we have 5 minutes. So Pooja, maybe you can start with the closing ceremonies. And if any one of you have more questions, please feel free to reach out on the links given. We'll be more than happy to attend to this.
So meanwhile, while I take it forward, if you have any questions, just drop in the chat box. Thank you, Manjiri ma'am, for sharing your insights and experience with Sunbird so far, with each and every one of us. Thank you, Parth sir and Krishna sir, and also the Xstep team for coordinating for the session so well. So we have helped you with what Sunbird is and how Sunbird is taking a step ahead. If you want to take a step ahead, do reach out to us. Our email ID is sunbird@tekdi.net. And of course, thanks to all you lovely audiences for joining us today and taking time to attend the session. It really means a lot to us and having this interactive session. And we look forward to host more such sessions with you. And would like to see you help you out in everything, like every doubt you have related to Sunbird and Sunbird SaaS. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Pooja. Thank you, Harish.